Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in. Let's keep talking about alignment today. What we have found out with our assessments of different shapes is that for some of you, what you were aiming at wasn't necessarily the alignment that would help you the best. And we have understood that maybe we have to relinquish for now our ideals in terms of handstands for the sake of getting a handstand first, which I like to rephrase by getting your handstand first, because as you will have noticed if you have watched other people's videos in the group, is that what suits one person is not necessarily what suited you. And suddenly we understand that handstands are much easier to learn when we step away from a one-size-fits-all approach. Remember this analogy I mentioned in the emails. A handstand holding a freestanding handstand for 20 seconds with a straight line is the peak of the mountain you're trying to climb. But for you to get there fast, you have to have identified first the base camps alongside your journey that will allow you to rest and recover on your way to the summit. Your base camps are your macro goals on the way to that goal. And trust me, by the time you get to the peak of that mountain, you will have realized that there's another mountain after that that you also want to conquer. So a smart practice, especially for somebody who is busy or somebody who learns handstands later in life, consists in you having a clear idea of where those base camps are and the order in which you're likely to encounter them. Base camp 1 was being able to reach the wall at all. Base camp 2 was being able to get consistently there, and then consistently and softly. There's many more progressions, but those are the first three we want to talk about when it comes to refining your kick-up practice, which is, remember, the first phase of your handstand. Just like the plane, if we oversimplify, runs on the tarmac and takes off, and then encounters a zone of turbulences, and then finally stabilizes itself in the air and reaches cruising altitude. We have the kick up, which allows us to get up closer to an alignment that hopefully we'll be able to balance. So the kick up is the first phase. You achieving that desired alignment is the second, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And third, your fingers mostly will do what they're supposed to be doing for you to hold that shape for as long as possible. Now, why is it so important for you to be soft against the wall? Well, remember what we were saying previously. If you're not soft against the wall and you were to remove the wall, you would literally go through the wall. So everything you do with the wall has to be looked at through that lens. Am I light or heavy against the wall? Because if you're light against the wall, and more specifically, if you are lighter and lighter week after week and month after month against the wall, you are working in such a way that you will be able to fade out the wall tomorrow. But if you stay heavy against it, you are practicing bad form, you are practicing something that will never exist for standing. So I can feel very straight, I can do all the cues I have learned from the professional tennis player's coach and suck my ribs in and engage my core and, tilt my pelvis, engage my glutes, point my toes. If I am heavy against the wall, although it feels nice and tight, and I try to do this without the wall, I will fall. Now, of course, you can get to a point where you can do all that and be soft with the wall. But understand that the cues are usually taking your attention away from what really matters, which is being soft against the wall in the first place. And on the contrary, we will find out that sometimes things that are perceived as being wrong, such as, if we exaggerate it, having one leg bent, having the hands too wide and having shoulders closed, as long as you can land softly with this and consistently with the wall, this will happen to be much easier to master freestanding. And this is a handstand. And the thing is, when you have cracked this code, you have cracked the code of handstands. And you can then master all the other shapes. So softness, softness, softness. Improvers, you may have noticed something else, which is the alignment or shape that you have decided on after our assessment with the wall, the one that was the most conducive to softness against the wall, is not the one that you have been working on freestanding. And suddenly we start facing one of the important deltas that we see in handstands, which is what you do with the wall is not congruent with what you do freestanding. You're trying to improve something here that you're not practicing there. And so you're scattering your attention instead of having a practice which is centered around one same alignment, whose code you will crack and then master them all.